So, Chris Birkett, 1990. At the time, 7 million copies sold worldwide, 6 weeks on the Billboard album chart, #1 in 16 countries. In 2012, the album was ranked 408 on Rolling Stone magazine's list of the 500 greatest albums of all times. The album I Do Not Want What I Haven't Got, the artist Sinead O'Connor, Chris Birkett. You co-produced and engineered this Grammy-winning album. How did that project come to you? Let's start there.
Yeah, okay. Well, I was in-house producer for a record company called Ensign Records, who are affiliated with Chrysalis Records, Ensign Chrysalis. The chap I was working with was Nigel Grange. So at that time I was in-house producer and engineer at Tapestry Studios in London. And Nigel came down to me once and he said, I just signed this great artist from Ireland. Her name's Sinead O'Connor, a young girl. She's only like 19 or something. And I'd like you to mix a couple of tracks off her album. And it was The Lion and the Cobra, her first album, which didn't do all that. It was got respect, but it wasn't a huge selling record. So Sinead really liked what I mixed Mandinka and Put 'Em On Me. But,
so you mixed those two of her.
Yeah, I did
records.
Mandinka and Put 'Em On Me, and then Sinead wanted to work with me on her next album, and I'd already had a good relationship with her and Faulkner O'Cayley, who was her manager at the time. And I remember sitting in the car outside the studio once, and Faulkner played me "Nothing Compares to You," the Prince version, and he said, Sinead wants to do a song, and I said, what do you think? And I said, well, I think we need to, I didn't really think it was a great song, not Prince's version, excuse me, Prince, but it didn't really go anywhere. So I said to Faulkner, well, I think we should just rearrange it a little bit, so, we chopped things around and made it much more, arrangement is everything. I mean, you can get the most mundane melody, and it's what you put around it which actually makes it come to life, so it's very important. So it's the same with Nothing Compares to You. I mean, we just hit on a really good arrangement for it, and then it was released, and we did the album as well, and it went up to 42 in the charts in Britain, and then the BBC dropped it. They didn't think it was going to be a hit, so they dropped it, and so we thought, oh, that's the end of that, And then they made a video. Sinead was crying on it in the Montmartre Cemetery and stuff, and that video broke the song. So it's kind of a good example of, like, you don't really know what's a hit and what isn't. I mean, you could have the best song in the world, but it doesn't hit into the right cogs, in the universe, So it doesn't,
That
work.
record, Nothing Compares to You, was originally released. Nothing really happened.
No, it went into the charts, but it only got to 42 in the UK
and then
charts.
the video came out, that's what changed.
It skyrocketed as soon as people saw the video. For some reason, everybody started to want to play it, and then it became a #1 in every country
around the world.
So I don't know who directed the video because I wasn't involved in that, but whoever it was really responsible for that record to being such a huge success.
Whose choice was it to have no bass line in that song?
Oh, it was mine. I didn't think it needed a bass line. It's one of the only records that I've done where I haven't used bass, because actually bass is, for me, bass, the final frontier. It's one of the best instruments on records. But it just had a really good groove.
Yeah,
it was just a really simple kick and snare sample, but with a real hi-hat on it, which made it come to life. And some nice, there's a guy called Goto, who's a Japanese guy, did programmed the strings on it, so it wasn't real strings, although they sound real. And it didn't seem to, the strings were giving it enough bottom and the kick drum, so it didn't seem to need a bass, so didn't do it.
Did you ever hear from Prince in regards to when that song really took off? Like, did you ever hear anything from him in regards to the song?
No, because that song started to go off everywhere, and then Sinead was touring everywhere, and I lost contact with her, and I was on to other things. I was just working. I'm constantly creating and making music, so I was in the studio. Some of the times I didn't even know what was happening to the records I'd made. I didn't even know they were hits.
Did the success of that album, did that surprise you?
Well, the album was really successful because of the single. It's one of those examples where they picked the right single, and that actually launched the album.